Have you ever looked at a kid and just wondered how much of who they are was already locked in at birth and how much is being shaped by everything happening around them? It's a huge question, one we've been asking for centuries. And today, we're going to dig into the biological side of that answer. Right, this is the big one, the classic nature versus nurture debate. Are we just acting out some pre-written genetic script? Or are we basically blank slates, molded by our experiences? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the nature side of that puzzle. We'll explore 4 key biological theories that show just how deep our programming really runs. So let's start with the idea that probably feels the most intuitive, that our development follows a predictable timetable, almost like there's a biological clock ticking away inside every single child. This idea actually has a name. It's called maturation theory. It was pioneered by a psychologist named Arnold Gesell, and his big idea was that children move through developmental stages in a fixed, predictable order, kind of like a flower blooming. He believed this internal sequence was so powerful, it didn't really matter what was happening in the outside world.
And you've seen this, right? I mean, any parent or caregiver recognizes this progression. A baby learns to sit up on their own, then they start to crawl, then they take their first steps, and then they start talking. These milestones are amazingly consistent across different cultures. It's a really powerful argument that our biology lays out a clear path for us right from the very beginning.
But why? Why does this biological clock even exist? What's the whole purpose behind this programming? Well, to answer that, we have to shift our focus from just an internal timetable to the external pressures of, staying alive. And this is where evolutionary theory enters the picture. While maturation theory looks inward, evolutionary theory looks outward. It argues that our development traits aren't just random. They evolved because they helped our ancestors survive and reproduce. It's not just about what happens, it's about why it happens. A perfect example of this comes from John Bowlby's attachment theory. I mean, why do babies cry for their parents or form these incredibly intense bonds? From an evolutionary point of view, it's a life-saving adaptation. A child that stays close to a caregiver is a child that gets protected, gets fed, and is just way more likely to survive. That emotional bond isn't just a feeling, it's a core survival mechanism. Okay, so we have an internal clock, and we have these powerful evolutionary instincts. But what happens when our pre-programmed biology smacks into the messy, unpredictable reality of the outside world? This is where things get really, really interesting and kind of cutting edge. The best way to think about it is like this. Our DNA provides the architectural blueprint for who we could become. But the environment, our nutrition, our stress levels, our relationships, that's the builder that actually constructs the house. The blueprint is absolutely crucial. But the builder makes a lot of decisions along the way. This incredible interaction is the focus of a field called epigenetics. Now, what's so wild about this is that it doesn't change your actual DNA code. Not at all. Instead, it changes how your body reads your DNA. Things happening in the environment can literally flip chemical switches on our genes, turning them up or dialing them down. So here's a super simple breakdown of how it works. First, you have your DNA blueprint. Then, some kind of signal from the environment happens. Let's say a period of high stress or a big change in diet. This event can flip a tiny chemical switch on a specific gene, telling your body to either use that gene's instructions more or use them less. So nurture is literally changing how nature expresses itself in real time. It's amazing. So where does all of this happen? I mean, where does the genetic blueprint, the survival instincts, and all these environmental signals actually come together? Well, the answer lies in the most complex thing we know of in the entire universe, the human brain. Our neurobiology is basically the operating system for our development. The nervous system is the core infrastructure, the hardware. The neurons are the messengers carrying all the information. The neurotransmitters are the actual signals they're sending. And different regions of the brain are like specialists, each handling different tasks, from emotion to logic. The brain is the command center. It's the place where our genetic predispositions get interpreted and where all our experiences leave a physical mark, literally shaping our neural pathways. It is constantly taking in data from both our internal code and the external world, and using all of it to guide how we grow and who we become. So let's just do a quick recap of what we've covered. We started with maturation theory, that simple idea of a biological clock. Then we layered on evolutionary theory, the survival instinct that programs us to adapt. After that, epigenetics gave us the malleable blueprint, showing how the environment can actually change the instructions. And finally, neurobiology gives us the command center, the brain, which is where it all comes together.
The biggest takeaway from all of this is that the old nature versus nurture debate is just framed all wrong. It's not a fight. It's not one against the other. What it really is a dynamic, complex, and lifelong conversation between our genes and our environment, with our brain acting as the interpreter the entire time.
And this leaves us with a really profound final thought to chew on. If our biology is more of a starting point than a fixed destiny, if our blueprint is more of a suggestion than a strict set of rules, what does that truly mean for the power we have to shape our own development and for how we create environments where every single child has the chance to thrive?